Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 1986 anime film Castle in the Sky. Now, before I get around to sharing more of my thoughts on this film, I would like to give a special shout out to Sean for requesting this review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you'd like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal or to my Patreon. The link to both is in the video description down below, and I will try to get to your request as soon as I possibly can. Now, Castle in the Sky is the first Studio Ghibli film, and it's quite the debut for what would go on to become a legendary animation studio. And in all honesty, maybe it's due to the fact that I haven't seen a ton of Miyazaki films. I think the only other one I saw all the way through was Porco Rosso, and I also enjoyed that quite a bit. And also, partly due to the fact that I haven't really seen a ton of anime films overall compared to other fans of this genre of animation. I thought this was absolutely stunning. Like I would definitely say that out of the Miyazaki films that I've seen, this is the best one that I've seen to date. And I think even if I see something like Nausicaa and some of these other ones, I'm probably sure that this would still be really high up there for me because it just has a lot of elements storytelling wise that I just really like and I love. I love the particular mix that this film has when it comes to the different genres of film. And it's directed by Miyazaki, and with pretty much everything that he touches and everything that he does, it's technically incredible. Hayao Miyazaki, it's just one of those things where even with, I think this was like his third film, or it's still one of those things where it still blows you away. Like the attention to detail when it comes to establishing setting and mood and atmosphere through animation and certain sequences is second to none, as is his ability to really just fashion and create and showcase stunning visuals like the floating city of Laputa and all the different environments that are a part of it, and even something like the robot attack sequence, and even the opening scene with the airship. Like, there's so many things about this film visually that I think really are quite uh, impressive and are incredible. And in large part, that's due to what Miyazaki brings to it as the director. And there's a lot of moments that are very sweet and charming, as well as somber, like the robot graves. And it's all done in a way that feels very authentic and heartfelt. And when it comes to the action, like involving the pirates or the military or robots or Pasu and his big gun and stuff like that, the way that Miyazaki directs these sequences is a thrill. It really is. Like, it's a really exciting, thrilling adventure when it comes to these sequences. There's a really well done chase scene involving a train and an automobile. There's the opening sequence that involves an airship and the pirates that are coming and trying to take Sheeta, and of course you have the climactic finale that takes place on Laputa while it's crumbling and falling apart, and it's just a really tremendous work of art visually, and it's a great bit of animation. And it's really one of those things where you look at the date and you're like, 1986, like this looks like something that you would see in this genre 10 years later. Like he was way ahead of his time when it comes to the way that he framed and set up his animation and the direction. And he also, due to the fact that he was just so innovative and so creative and imaginative when it comes to the direction, it has a certain timeless quality to it, despite it being from 1986. I mean, there's even shots in this where he has like a POV shots of characters like Patsu. Pasu, while he's on the kite, and it's a POV of him holding the kite while he's trying to go into the storm. Like there's just stuff like that that just really makes this stand out from traditional Japanese animation or anime, even from around this time, and definitely from other films and other anime that would come out afterwards. So yeah, I cannot sing enough praises when it comes to Miyazaki's direction in this. It's just absolutely marvelous. It really is. And I think he did a stupendous job writing the script as well. It's a fine example of a story that combines different elements from different genres and does it in a way where it doesn't feel too out of place. They all feel like they fit together. So you have elements of fantasy as well as action and adventure, a little bit of comedy to lighten the mood at times, and science fiction. And so when you combine all those elements together, it really leads to something that is genuinely unique when it comes to the script and the overall story. And I just love the characterization as well, whether it's the heroes or the villains. I think the way that the characters are written is very effective and very strong overall. Like the Pazu and Shita and Dola and Muska and even smaller characters like the other people who are a part of Dola's crew, and other people who were underlings from Muska. Um, it's just a really well written film when it comes to the characters. Like even Patsu's like, I think it's his father who works in the mines. Like even his character was fun and definitely was a little bit of a standout compared to like your normal character in that regard. And I liked the love story between Pazu and Shita. I felt it was very charming and very sweet, and it didn't really go into the overly saccharine level either. Like there's a love story and they definitely do care for one another, and they love each other, but it's not anything that's really like in your face. It doesn't feel like it's being shoved down your throat. It's very natural and at times kind of subtle and almost like they're just close friends. And so that was a nice change of pace when it comes to uh, storytelling and typical storytelling devices. And I love the way it opens up, where you think one thing involving the pirates and Dola, where they are heading to the airship and they're trying to get Shita, and you think that okay, these pirates are the ones that we need to be wary of, and they are the ones that are trying to take Shita and find Laputa and steal all the gold, and so they're going to be the antagonists. But as the story goes on, that isn't the case at all. The pirates actually wind up being a part of the side of good, and they're more of like a chaotic good, but they're still uh meaning well, and they still help Patsu and Shita, and they're still involved in the finale when it comes to fending off and fighting the real enemy, which turns out to be Muska and the army, who are also trying to get Sheeta. I also like the crystal around her neck and the mystery behind that, and the how it just inexplicably saves her life early on in the movie and throughout like the first half of the story, where she'll be falling but then the crystal will save her. And then I love the science fiction elements that are implemented throughout the story. The mysterious robot who fell from the sky, who's trapped in this stronghold, and then when Sheeta says a spell that her mother taught her, the to uh save her. You know, it's a spell that you only say if you're in a pretty tough spot, if you're in dire need of being saved. And so she says this salvation spell, and the robot comes back to life. And it leads to honestly a sequence that reminded me of something that I might have seen in the Iron Giant many, many years later, because it has the same sort of thing with a robot that doesn't speak but still has a connection with some of the characters, especially Sheeta. And there's a certain tragic undertone to it when the robot winds up sacrificing itself to save Sheeta. And I like that the crystal, there's also more to it than it just being made out of this certain material, that it's also capable of showing the way to Laputa. I like that Patsu has a connection to Laputa as well because his father went there. And there's just a lot of elements of the script that really do make for a compelling narrative. The villain is very villainous and vile, especially when he starts taking advantage of Laputa and takes Sheeta, and he's got the stone and he's using it to essentially become a dictator, a despot of Laputa, and taking over the technology and the and Laputa's army. And is he actually does have Laputa blood in him, like Sheeta, but he's a megalomaniac, and he is not going to Laputa for the right reasons. He's not discovering Laputa's secrets and doing all of these things and going through all these different hidden doors and hidden rooms and finding the gem that powers Laputa. Like, he's not doing all of this for any other reason other than power. And he just wants to use Laputa to essentially be king or god of not only Laputa but of the entire world. So he's using Laputa's gifts for evil. And I like that there are some really interesting blends of science fiction and fantasy during the Laputa scenes. I like the pirate stuff as well with Dola, when you have Patsu and Sheeta learning the ways of being a pirate. And there are some stuff I guess you could consider to be a bit, I wouldn't say sexist, but definitely a bit stereotypical when it comes to Sheeta, you know, working in the kitchen and whatever. But I don't think it was too uh, uh, off when it comes to that regard in terms of that writing, because there were still moments where she resists and in a lot of ways manages to overcome and step outside of the boundaries that are typically set up for female characters. Because there's that whole bit where she's like, no, I'm gonna go with Patsu on this kite, like I'm not gonna go down below, like I can be a pirate. I can do whatever Patsu can do. And that definitely does make Sheeta stand out when it comes to her character. And other things that I really like is the way that nature mixes with the futuristic elements when it comes to the sequences on Lapita. Like this scene with one of the last remaining robots that was there to protect the garden, which is the one on the bottom there of this DVD cover art. I thought that was really something that was genuinely interesting, and I thought it definitely provided a different kind of vibe and feel for that scene, and there's a certain somber nature to it, but also a lot of heart because you have this robot who's continually uh, pulling and I don't know if pulling is the right word, but he's picking flowers to leave behind at the grave of his fellow robot who died trying to protect the garden. And I like that. I like that there is that interesting mix of those elements of technology and nature. And there's a lot of that involving the subtext of the script as well. A lot of it is technology versus nature, and I think it's compelling in its own way, and I think it adds a fair amount to the script because it does make you think on more than one occasion, but not in a way where it comes across as preachy, which I think is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. And I love the tone of the script because it knows when it needs to take things seriously, but it also knows when to have fun. It knows when to embrace a little bit of the camp nature of the overall concept and the story. And it's not like it has an ending that is unsatisfying in any way. Patsu and Shita, they escape with their lives uh, and some treasure. So and the villains get defeated. I will say this though, the stuff involving Muska, I think that's yeah Muska. His ultimate demise is not nearly as satisfying as everything else involving the ending of this story. Laputa is falling apart and he gets blinded and then he essentially dies off screen. At least in the version that I saw. I don't know if there's another version where you see him fall off the floating city to his death, or you see the robots get him, or you see something that it just leaves more of an impact than a whole lot of nothing, which is what happens uh, with the film in general when it comes to Muska. It's a whole lot of nothing. Like he's built up to be this genuinely cunning and genuinely menacing and evil villain who you are waiting to see get his comeuppance, and he just I'm blind, and then I guess just dies off screen. It's not satisfying. That's like one of the few issues that I have with the film is just that. Everything else, like, I felt was really well done, really well handled when it comes to the script, including the dialogue. And yeah, overall, I think it's a really fine and fantastic screenplay, but with a disappointing denouement or demise for the main villain. But other than that, I think it's a great script. And it's also got some good cinematography by Hirokata Takahashi. It's got some excellent editing by Takeshi Sayama and Yoshiro Kashihara. And the voiceover work, at least for the one that I saw the Disney dub. I'm just going to be honest here. I am I'm the type when it comes to anime films, at least for me personally, I prefer the English dub because then I can focus on the animation and I can see the entirety of it. At least when it comes to like the first time viewing an anime film, I still go back and watch or experience the other dubs or the original dub if I wind up liking the anime. But the first time around, I like to watch the English dubs, and I know people have issues with the English dub, especially the Disney dub. I loved it. I thought this dub was great. I thought it was honestly one of the best English dubs that I've heard. But it might be one of those things too where I haven't heard a ton of them. Other than maybe Porco Rosso, which I also really liked. I mean, Michael Keaton was a part of that voice cast. But this voice cast is also terrific. I think James Van Der Beek did a really good job as Patsu. I know a lot of people don't like it because he sounds like he's older and he's like going through puberty and his voice cracks, but I feel that it adds to the performance. It makes it stand out a little bit. And also, he's very spirited. He's very energetic. He really provides a lot of charm and charisma to Patsu when it comes to his voiceover. And when he needs to be vulnerable, it's believable. When he needs to be strong, it's equally as believable. And yeah, overall, I thought Van Der Beek did a really good job, and I'd probably say it's honestly one of the best things that I've ever seen him do. Um, as an actor, I didn't even know he had this in him. To be honest, I saw James Van Der Beek more as a guy who, is the TV actor, maybe did a few films here and there, but I didn't even know he had this range in him. And Sheeta, voiced by Anna Paquin, and Debbie Derryberry, who voices a young Sheeta. I know Anna Paquin is a lot of people who are on the fence about her because of her accent that kind of comes and goes, but that's just Anna Paquin. That's just her actual accent. That's her voice. And I felt that it wasn't really that distracting for me personally. Like I feel that uh it wasn't really something that took away that much from the performance. In a lot of ways, it kind of made it stand out more, made her sound even more like some kind of fantasy character. Like a character that's completely separate from, the normal world that we see outside our front door. She's got this accent that just sounds very unique and unlike anything you normally hear. And I felt that she was also very lively when it comes to her voiceover. And I feel that when Sheeta really needed to show some strong emotions, she absolutely nailed that. And I feel that she had great chemistry with James Van Der Beek as well. So I don't even think that her performance is bad. And I've seen a lot of people say her performance is bad, but I didn't really feel that way at all. And Cloris Leachman as Dola was a blast. She was a hoot. I loved her in this. Like her voiceover work was so good as this pirate, and she in a lot of ways was definitely the sense of humor and when it comes to the movie, and she was really funny when she needed to be, but she was also really sweet and kind and caring when it comes to the character when that was necessary as well. And Mark Hamill was awesome as Muska. Like I don't understand. I've read some critics saying that Mark Hamill was like not good, and I'm like, what? Mark Hamill was great. He was great as a villain. It was just as menacing and just as memorable with his voiceover work as any other thing that he's done. You could even kind of hear some little elements of Joker here and there. Like if he laughed like the Joker in a couple scenes, like it would really fit. But I still feel that he made it stand out enough that it didn't really sound like he's just doing his Joker voice. And yeah, he was just menacing as hell and really intimidating when he needed to be, and charismatic too. Like when you think, like, oh, maybe he does mean well. Maybe he's not really necessarily a bad guy. Oh wait, no, he is. He's very much a bad guy. And Jim Cummings as a general, I also really liked Richard Dysart in his small role as Uncle Palm. Um, Michael McShane as Sharu, Andy Dick. Even Andy Dick did some good work as Henri. And Mandy Patinkin as well. Tris McNeil, who played Sheeta's mom. Um, so, yeah, overall, I felt the English dub, the Disney dub from 2003, I thought it was great. I loved it. And another thing that I really loved about the film is the score. Whether it's the original synthesizer score or the orchestral version, the Blu-ray rip that I saw had the synthesizer version, the original score by Joe uh, Hisaishi. I probably butchered the last name, but he also did an orchestral version for the 2003 Disney release, which had the Disney dub with James Van Der Beek and Anna Paquin. And for whatever reason, that orchestral version is only available on this DVD set. They didn't port it over to the Blu-ray for some reason. So, and this also has the original audio mix for the 2003 version. There were fans of Castle in the Sky, and honestly, some purists who really didn't like some of the chatter and some of the stuff that was added in when it comes to the audio to kind of fill in some dead spots. And I don't think it was really that much of a problem for me personally. Um, but I guess I could see why some people wouldn't be as big on it because of the fact that it's not really what they are used to when it comes to the film. But I wish that the G Kids Blu-ray actually just ported over this audio track in its entirety. But maybe it's a rights thing. Maybe it's something they couldn't do because Disney wouldn't let them. I don't know what it is, but um, it's one of those reasons why I'm probably going to hang on to this DVD just so I can have that option, to watch the film with that audio track and with the orchestral score, which is epic. It's a beautiful score. It really is. And I think it sounds great in either version. It just depends on what you're in the mood for. Are you in the mood for something more of the time of the mid 80s and when it comes to Japanese animation, or are you in the mood for a more Hollywood style orchestral score? Both scores though are great. And it's like a 124-minute long movie. Like I said, it's like 2 hours, but it doesn't drag at all. Like it never really got to the point where I was bored. I was mostly mesmerized by it, by the visuals, by the unique blend of all these different genres that I really enjoy. I really like fantasy films. I really like action adventure movies, and I really like sci-fi films. So you combine all that together into just a unique blend, and then you have this just jaw-dropping, gorgeous, and beautiful animation on top of it, and a really good score and some great voiceover work, and you just have a very enthralling and entertaining film. And yeah, I would say if you like those genres and you like animation, specifically you like an anime, and for whatever reason you haven't seen this yet, I would definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely give this some of my highest marks. I thought it was a genuinely fantastic film. And not just a great bit of animation, like just a great film in general. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Castle in the Sky. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. See ya.